معرفة.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Now let us today discuss about structures and concepts in relation to Takaful. Now, what is the structure of Takaful? Now, to briefly understand, for example, these are the participants, and these participants are contributing their participation amount into a Takaful fund, and they appoint a Takaful operator to manage that fund, right? Now, there are some structures which are used. For example, if this is based on Mudaraba, then it would be a Mudaraba based Takaful fund. If it is based on a Wakala, then it would be a Wakala based Takaful. If it is a combination of a Mudaraba and a Wakala, then it is called as a hybrid. If the structure is based on the concept of Waqf, then it is a Takaful based on a Waqf structure. So basically these are four main structures, as I said: Mudaraba, Wakala, Waqf and hybrid, which are currently practiced in the market. Now, as we have seen, Takaful operator has two roles to play. One is a more administrative in nature, meaning to say to manage the Takaful policy, to receive the contributions, maintaining record and settlement of claims, for example. So these are certain administrative duties which the Takaful operator performs. The another duty which the Takaful operator does is in relation to investment. So this pool which gets generated from the participants, this pool has to be kept for two purposes. One is so that if there is any claim, then that claim is being addressed through this pool. The second is that this fund is also used to invest. So the role of the Takaful operator is for two purposes. One is to do the administrative duties. The other is to invest the Takaful contributions on behalf of participants in Sharia compliant businesses. Now let us briefly understand the roles and responsibilities of each entity involved in a Takaful structure. So starting with the participants. So what the participants have to do is, of course, submit the required information which is required by the Takaful fund operator, make payment of contribution on a regular basis, and inform on occurrence of the risk insured. So if there is any occurrence which happens in relation to the risk insured, that needs to be informed to the Takaful operator. So these are some of the main responsibilities of the participants. Now, in terms of the Takaful policy, it needs to be clear that, of course, there can be conditions in Takaful policy with reference to special cases that leads to deprivation from indemnity provided. But it has to be seen that these conditions have the element of justice. These conditions prevent the rights of the participants, and these are not just absurd conditions. So that is what needs to be kept in mind while the conditions are structured in the Takaful policy. Some of the basic terminologies, of course, are in relation to, for example, the contributions which are done by the Takaful participants. This is generally referred to as the Takaful contribution. Then the amount for which the Takaful was structured, that is called as Takaful amount. Then the risk insured against, what is the event against which the Takaful policy is being provided. Then there are certain accounts which are set up by the Takaful company in relation of managing the funds with relation to investment and with relation to claims. Then we also have to understand how the Takaful surplus is managed, which is again an important concept. Now, generally, the Takaful surplus is distributed to the Takaful policy holders. Now, this distribution can be done, of course, based on what has been agreed between the Takaful operator and the participants. Generally, the surplus which is collected at the end is distributed amongst the policyholder after deducting the amount of indemnities. So meaning to say, whatever claims have been done after the claims have been addressed, whatever surplus is remaining, that surplus is distributed amongst the participants. Now let us understand about the expiry of the Takaful policy. The Takaful policy could be expired, for example, at the end of the agreed period, or for example, if there's a termination of the policy either by the company or by the participants, or for example, if there's a complete damage to the insured property, the Takaful policy could be expired. But the main point is that without nullifying the entitlement of the participants to the indemnity. The fourth could be the death of the insured, of course, again without nullifying the entitlement of the participant who died. So these are some of the points which would trigger the expiry of Takaful. In terms of the investment, as we have discussed, the Takaful operator also invests the liquidity of the participants in Sharia compliant businesses. There's also another important point which we have to know is that the Takaful is on a regular basis guided and scrutinized by a Sharia board, because we need to see that the investment and the management of the Takaful operator is done in line with Sharia principles. And because of that, there is a Sharia board appointed which oversee the activities of the Takaful operator and sees to it that all the operations are done in a Sharia compliant manner. So just to recap, as we said, that these are the participants. They enter into a kind of an arrangement with the Takaful fund or the Takaful operator. Now this arrangement could be done on the basis of mudaraba, wakala or waqf. So based on what is the arrangement, that would be the underlying structure of the Takaful. The Takaful operator has two main responsibilities. One is more administrative in nature, which relates to managing the Takaful policy, receiving the contributions and maintaining record and settling the claims. The other is to invest a portion of the Takaful fund in Sharia compliant avenues. Then we have seen that there is an independent Sharia board appointed to oversee how the Takaful fund is being managed and operated by the Takaful operator.